Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and this week has been an extremely long week. It's week 7, training for Ironman 70.3 happening in May. So we are finally finished with base training. For the past 3 weeks, I've built up from 14 hours a week, 16 hours a week, and to this week, which is 18 and a half hours. So this is exactly what I did from Monday to Sunday, and so let's start with Monday. And as usual, Monday was my rest day. I just did an hour of cycling in the morning, averaging 56 watts, and in the evening, I swam 3.1k, and the main set was 11 times 100 meters, all around 1 minute 24 to 1 minute 27 pace. And for the 11 times 100, I did it on 2 minutes, which means my rest time is determined by how fast I come back for each 100 meters. So if I come back really fast, I have more rest as long as I push off for the next set. On Tuesday, the main set was lactic threshold bike session. I spent 1 hour and 30 minutes on the bike. The threshold session was a 4 times 6 minutes set, 1 minute rest in between. So I averaged about 210 to 220 watts for each of the 6 minutes. On Wednesday, it was the NUS trials again. As usual, it was 12.5 km on the treadmill for 45 minutes for running till exhaustion at 14 km per hour in quite a humid lab. And in the evening, I just did an easy swim. I did about 2 km of swimming. Thursday was one of the longer days in the week. In the morning, I did 2 hours zone 2 bike ride. I averaged 113 watts. And in the evening, the main set was a 4 times 1 km VO2 max run, and the rest was 3 minutes, and I hit the timings of 3:28, 3:26, 3:28, and the last one was a bad one, 3:35. So lesson learned was not to eat my dinner 1 hour before running. But overall, that 4 times 1k was still a good set. I spent about 9 minutes total at VO2 max pace, which I was aiming to do at 3:29. So on Friday, I did a 2,000 meter swim, and that was the only thing I did on Friday, which was supposed to be easy, because on Saturday it was a long break ride, which I did a video last week about, and it consisted of a 4-hour bike ride followed by a 20-minute break run after that. The main set for the 4-hour bike ride was a 6 times 30-second sprint interval, doing about 380 to 400 watts, and the break run after that was on the treadmill. I did 2 minutes off and 1 minute on. And the 2 minutes off was at 13 km per hour, 1 minute on was at 14 km per hour, and that was 4 hours and 21 minutes for the whole of Saturday. And I was pretty happy with my break performance. For the 4 hours ride, I started the ride at 115 beats per minute, and I ended the ride at about 120 beats per minute, keeping my overall power about 120 watts for the whole ride. And that's a sign that my endurance training has been pretty good. If you're keeping the same amount of watts, but at one point in time your heart rate starts to spike up, and that's when you know your endurance at zone 2 only lasts that long. Since my heart rate for the 3.5 hours didn't spike up too much, it's a good sign that my endurance is roughly about 3.5 hours to 4 hours, and that would definitely help me for my half Ironman, which I'm aiming for around 2 hours and 35 minutes on the bike. And being good and economical on the bike would definitely give you a much easier run after that. And that's also another reason why I planned my long run on a Sunday, so that so whatever fatigue I had on the Saturday would still be in my legs for the long run on Sunday. And on that Sunday, I ran 30 km, and it was 5 km more than I had planned. I wanted to increase the mileage for the previous 3 weeks from 18, 21 to 25 km, and 25 km being this week. And I find that even though for the 30 km my legs felt okay, I didn't feel that I was super comfortable, nor I felt like I was dying. The 30 km long run was one of the longest runs I ever did, probably within the year. So I don't think my body is able to do a lot of 30 km long runs, but since this is the last week of base training, which is supposed to be the longest week of training, pushing to 30 km and giving my body a bit more stress is, especially when next week is a whole week of rest. So let's go over the totals I did for this week. For the swim, I swam a total of 1 hour and 51 minutes, and for the bike, I cycled a total of 9 hours and 36 minutes. It was just 1 minute more from the previous week. For the run, I ran a total of 7 hours and 6 minutes, almost 2 hours more from last week, making the total time for this week 18 hours and 34 minutes. Because of the NUS trial on Wednesday, I was not able to do my strength workout on the Tuesday. Also, unfortunately, I had to skip my strength workout for the week. So that's actually my main concern about this week, because we all know how important strength workouts are in both performance and keeping injury free. So let me just give a little bit of experience of my 3 weeks of base training. So the volume of the 3 weeks, I increased from 14 to 16 to 18 and a half hours, and the experience was actually pretty interesting for me, and I've learned a bit more about how my body responded to the past 3 weeks of base training. My legs weren't exactly sore and painful, the aching type of feeling, but rather it was like my body just didn't want to move, and you know, that kind of feeling. And in terms of performance, I could also tell that in my 100 meters of swim, I could feel a lot more fatigue going the same paces. So my legs felt like they didn't want to move from Monday to Thursday, and only on Friday did my legs start to get better. That's kind of a sign that I overdid my last week of training. It could be just due to the 30 km long run I did on Sunday, which destroyed my whole body for the good part of the rest week. I'm just thankful that now I'm better able to listen to my body and know the signs of like putting the same amount of effort but going a lot slower pace. So that's the kind of experience I had during the rest week. And so those were my little thoughts and reflections I had about week 7 of training. And so that leaves me with about 10 or 11 weeks left to Danang 70.3. I hope you guys enjoyed this style of videos where I update my training progress, and if you like what you're seeing, please feel free to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more weekly updates like this, and I will see you guys again next week. Bye!